Hi, welcome back. So this is the second video of belting. So we have the In the Heights score, which is big right now, and there's definitely some kids that I think would sing really well doing it. So I'm going to sing part of it and then kind of talk about it. So we're starting on a D, this D below, or D above middle C. This is my street, I smile at the faces I've known all my life. They regard me with pride, and everyone's sweet. They say you're going places, so how can I say that while I was away? I had so much to hide. Hey guys, it's me, the biggest disappointment you know. The kid couldn't hack it, she's back and she's walking real slow. Welcome home, just breathe. So I might be taking the time to do all of that so slowly. Just let's chest voice into breathe. Head voice as the radio plays old forgotten boleros. I think of the days when the city was mine. I remember the phrase I te adoro, te quiero. The neighborhood waved and said, Nina, be brave and you're gonna be fine. Okay, so that's a B flat. Fa. What's the vowel? Ah. Fa. And then the stomach goes out the same way. Fa. Fa. Same thing as if you were up on your head voice. Same thing is happening. And maybe it's me. Notice it's not me, it's opera me. You hear that? But it all seems like lifetimes ago. So what do I say to these faces that I used to know? Hey, I'm home. Hey, they're not worried about me. They are all counting on me to succeed. You hear all of my vowels? They're round. So it's not me letting my voice, belt's not just like, hey guys, I'm out on the playground, E, E. No, you wouldn't say E like that. You would say E, E, E. I always tell my students that when they go to hold a note, you hold it on the largest part of the vowel. E. Not, you wouldn't do it while you're closing at the end or while you're opening. You would do it, you would capture the most prettiest vowel that you could, which is usually after the breath's kind of like gotten itself where it needs to be. This is like millisecond thing I'm talking about. But what it does is it prepares them for the high note in the phrase. So, for example, this is all above B flat, and it goes up to a D. I am the one who made it out, the one who always made the grade. But maybe I should have just stayed home. When I was a child, I stayed wide awake, climbed to the highest place on every fire escape, restless to climb. I got every scholarship, saved every dollar. The first to go to college, how do I tell them why? Now that's an E flat, so it's high. So I wouldn't have them sing that more than a couple times in a lesson. But if they're not getting it, there's quick little, my voice is a little shot today, but there's quick little exercises that you can do to have that happen. So I would go actually probably right to, so which is a D, E flat, D. And maybe yay would be the best way to get them there, because yay is open. How do I tell them why? And have them do it like that. But you have to show them that it's more support and no tension on the throat. And what happens is after like a whole section like that, that's a big section, so they're going to feel it, you know? They're going to feel all that belt, you know? And then the song goes on and on, but it's a great song. Chloe could probably really sing the crap out of that one. But then there's other ones like that Sarah Watson sings. The elevated train by my window doesn't faze me anymore. In their chest voice, in every girl's chest voice, whatever they're comfortable speaking down here in the CDE range is the volume that they should feel comfortable at least singing. So if I'm down here and you say, okay, Rachel, say, hey, hey, I could say, hey, like that, hey, or I could say, hey, and engage my muscle. So that's really where you need to start with them. If you get someone singing, the elevated train by my window doesn't faze me anymore. And it's not a choice, it's the only volume that you're getting. That's where there's a problem. Because then we don't build upon a bass. The bass is the speaking voice. So when that's not happening, or when it's nasal, it's a lack of support and a lack of vowel depth. And that comes from speaking. So whenever that's happening, you just go back to the speaking. You go back to, hey, hey, things like that. If the throat's closing, that's what you're going to hear a lot of. And then you can also go up into the head voice with these octave exercises is great for them. Because so they have the bass, which is the same bass they're going to use for the C. Okay, now E, we all know that ah is the hardest on C. It's just a hard vowel. It's easier to sing or or E. E is probably the easiest for kids until they get that feeling of connection between what's happening with the diaphragm. The diaphragm's pushing out. This is opening, and we're controlling the amount of air that's going through the vocal cords. So we have E, and I make them bring the chest all the way up, and if this note sucks, I make them do it again. If they're like E, and say no, say E, and then I have them do that E. For the ones whose vibrato messes up their voice, it closes it or changes it or does something funky to it, I have them just do it straight tone. E, and I have them take the chest all the way up and then have that ugly change in there until they understand that everything's connected. E, right? And I have them do that up until about usually an E, and then they can go back down. And as they get better at it, then they can change the vowel. You can do but that takes a lot of correct support here, like right under the breast and the diaphragm. And feel free to touch them. You need to touch your students to have them understand what needs to be happening. Aggressive is okay, because they need to feel the push against a hand or the push against, I used to have my students, push against my fist or fall backwards on me to engage those ab muscles that are here under the breast area. What I see a lot of kids is they breathe in and then all the sound is gone, and if you touch this part, it's soft, and it can't be. It has to be slightly out and firm in order for it to be working correctly. So another exercise I use to engage the head and the chest together is goal being to stay in your head voice until you're in about a D on the bottom. And then if they don't have vibrato, so here's my D. And try to make that transition. You know, as smooth as possible. It's really important to make that as smooth as possible. So then there's not this discrepancy on how you're hitting head voice and how you're hitting chest voice, because you're coming at them from the same thing. You have a support, you have an open throat, you know, you're opening, and it's the same thing. So when I go to speak here, yee, and I go to speak here, yee, it's the same thing that's happening. It's the same in the chest and the same in the head. And the more that you can meld the head voice and the chest voice, the better their chest voice is going to sound. The rounder and the more pleasing to the ear it's going to sound, for the most part. Belting high is always going to have the same sound because it's a lot of tension. But for the ones that are up there, they have to project. If they're not projecting, that's not going to work. So, like, what do we have here? It's like a, I think this is Sarah's folder. Journey to the Past, right? Heart, don't fail me now. Courage, don't desert me. Don't turn back now that we're here. People always say life is full of choices. No one ever mentions fear or how the world can seem so vast. On a journey to the past. So that's mostly chest voice, right? So like I gave you like the one. You know, you can do a few of them in head voice. But what happens is if they're not correctly supporting the chest voice, when they go to head, all you're getting is this sound. Now Sarah's 13, Chloe's 13, Jazzy's 13. All those guys are 13. So you want to start building their head voice in a way that's going to have more sound. Even if you have to modify the vowel a little bit, it's better that they learn on a vowel that they can actually use than just having this flitty, flotty sound. Because then that's teaching them support in the bottom, but you don't have to work on the high. And you do. You have to work on the bottom and the top. So that'll be, I think, enough to get you started. And then I'll just try and do this every couple of weeks so that you feel like you're learning. And maybe I'll post like a belt video every so often for the kids. What else? And then I'm going to do a little vibrato tutorial.